I mean, I have got on a bus in Israel with my luggage, and the bus driver, who's a young man of the age to have a family, sees me, doesn't recognize me, obviously, with my bag, and I can see what's going through his mind. You know, I get on buses that, on a route that have been blown up. So to say that this is discriminatory on the basis of race or religion is quite wrong. It's based on violence.
I think there is a disingenuous point about what he's just said. The violence that we have seen, suicide bombing in the way they have done, is of course completely prohibited in the Islamic law if you study it thoroughly. And we condemn it categorically. But it's only as a result of the occupation, that's what they're saying. And of course, that's not any justification. But what we're saying is, this is only a recent phenomena. The discrimination...
Is there a lot of anti-Semitism behind it too,
though? The racist policies has been going on for the last 45 years. Yes, and this is the problem.
But the racist policies...
A state cannot say, if you're a Palestinian who live in Israel, get married to somebody who lives outside, you can't bring your spouse. Isn't that a very racist policy?
Rabbi Laura, isn't that a very racist policy, he asks?
We're not, I think we're using the wrong term here, and also a term in Britain, I would call it, we are at war.
And war with who?
Israelis and a Palestinian. I need to finish my sentence, so please don't jump in. Israelis and Palestinians are at war, and I worked in Israeli-Palestinian dialogue, both in the Palestinian territories and in Israel, where we came backwards and forwards between us. And what is happening, there are two peoples, both of whom deserve sovereign states, who are at war. And what is happening is there are laws and actions from both sides that are awful, and there are also joyful, visionary actions from both sides. Now, the word racism here in Britain is very, very destructive for Muslim-Jewish relations.
Is it inappropriate to use that?
It's inappropriate. There are people who are racist, who are Jews and who are Muslims, and they use it against the other side. But what's going on is about two enemies who are at war. And that, I would say,
sorry, Nikki.
Selma.
They are not equal parties. The Israelis have taken the Palestinian land. They are the third or fourth largest military power in the world. They have made the laws and imposed them on others. If Britain were an occupied territory, we would accept any form of defense of our right to be free. And the Palestinians have every right to fight by any means necessary.
Suicide bombing.
I cannot condemn those who defend themselves against the military might.
No, they're killing innocent people.
That's very shocking.
They have shared with
this is why we're not solving the Middle East.
The Israeli state has supported the South African
so let me tell you about my children.
And every single dictator in the world.
Rabbi Laura, then Raj. Rabbi Laura.
I took my children one day to the market. We went out, we bought ice cream. 2 days later, 2 bombs went off in exactly the same place.
Terrible.
I don't understand. It's an unequal situation. I don't want it to be like that. I want 2 sovereign states between 2 peoples who deserve them. But to sit here and condone suicide bombing is extremely problematic.
Not talking about suicide bombing.
Raj Sharma.
What it is, first of all, we're trying to resolve a dispute here. The dispute, we cannot give a blanket statement that a whole nation is racist. There may be policies which may affect one community adversely compared to another. I mean, in this country, we have equality of sexes. And yet, men who, and women who work in comparable jobs, the women are often paid less than the men. This does exist. But one very important thing, when you're going to resolve any kind of conflict, please, these very emotive words. I have been to Israel many times. I've worked in hospitals, and I've seen that the word apartheid, forgive me for saying, madam, that in South Africa, did you ever see on a maternity ward a black mother giving birth at the same time as a white mother? This was based on the color of one's skin. So the word apartheid
it's wrongly applied.
is a bit strong.
It is
there are
strong.
grievances. I can relate. I can relate with. No, I can relate with
colonialism. Do you know how many colonies are in the West Bank, in Gaza, for example? Do you know how many colonies?
Yes, but
can you say how many?
Can I just finish?
Just a minute. It's not only colonies.
Can I just
also
finish?
foreign occupation. The main reason is occupation. We have to say it. Occupation is the main reason. If you take over the occupation, then the problem is solved. It's only one side who's oppressing the other side. And what are you saying is discrimination? It's a full discrimination.
Can I just, before you go on, I have family in Kashmir. Now, I can relate with you people.
Yeah.
I, as a Hindu, we are in the minority. Since the 1990s, we've been driven out of our homeland, the homeland of our ancestors, remember. We have similar grievances. I'm not saying that you have legitimate grievances, and also Israel as well. Why can you not just sit down and resolve this matter? But please, the parlance you should use are not these kind of inflammatory words, such as apartheid and racism.
Haim, and then we'll go to the audience. Haim.
42 years, Israel had all the possibilities of resolving this. They had to say, we are going out and we want peace with you between equals. We don't want...
And this will happen one day.
Just a minute.
Yes, it will
in
happen.
2002, all the Arab states said to Israel, out of the territories, you will have peace with the whole Arab world. Until now, not a single Israeli politician answered that.
In 1967,
Jonathan?
in 1967, after the war, Israel went to Khartoum and offered the territories back. It was met with 3 no's. No to recognition, no to giving back the territories, and no to political...
This is nonsensical.
3 no's. Israel offered...
So, Jonathan,
for 42 years, Israel refuses to get out of the territory. For 42 years, it is oppressing the Palestinians.
I wonder what our audience think. You've had your hand up, sir. What would... Please, sir, we're over here. What would you like to say?
Yeah, I would just like to say that even the existing Israeli government doesn't ascribe to offering Palestinians a state or going back to the international laws or the 1967 boundaries, even if that...
Is it a racist state?
Of course it is. It is a racist state.
Yeah, Rabbi Laura, this word...
I think this word racism is brought in because it's interesting for the BBC in the morning. It's an extremely problematic word to have here.
Well, Archbishop Tutu said it,
Israelis,
and I don't think he was thinking about ratings on a Sunday morning when he said it.
But I'm thinking, how are we going to move towards peace? In our synagogue,
out of the territories, out of the
occupation.
occupation.
If you stop shouting at me. It would be so lovely if you stopped shouting at me.
You have to talk, please.
I'm trying to work out, as a religious leader in Britain, how we move towards peace. What do we do here to influence it? So I would say to people from other faiths, let's go together. Let's go together to Israel, let's go together to the Palestinian territories, and influence the process. To sit here inflammatory with this name-calling is extremely problematic. And I have worked in Jericho and in Ramallah and have taught in Bethlehem, so I do know both sides, and I know the situation is very, very bad.
Is it, Laura, irresponsible to ask this question?
Yes, because what happens, people have heard these 2 words together, and unfortunately the leap from Israel, as the Dayman said, to anti-Semitism, to call racism to anti-Semitism. It's very cute, this link.
The question's been asked before. It's been debated within Israel, this in the press there. It's been talked about at the United Nations. Archbishop Desmond Tutu's alluded to it. Nelson Mandela has alluded to it. Is it not right to ask the question so that you can come on and answer it?
Well, why don't we ask the question, what in England can we do as a multicultural country to move the situation forward?
Jews are not a race anyway. You could convert to Judaism.
Well,
there is no such thing in the modern age as an unadulterated race, apart from possibly the Aborigines. So this talk about racism is simply inflammatory
the definition,
talk, designed, you know, it's Big Brother style talk. It's Big Brother style talk designed to spark a controversy. And it does
the
every
definition
time.
of racism...
But if you look at the actual issues,
I don't care what the definition is.
Wait, the definition of reality. What's the reality?
Reality on the ground is, I went to Israel not long ago. I was detained at the airport for 9 hours, and I was asked these questions. Are you an Arab? If you're an Arab, you're not welcome. Do you have an Arab ancestry? Then you're not welcome. Why is your father's name and your name Arabic? These I call racist questions. And I know, I'll tell you.
No, this happens to me in Saudi Arabia.
Can I finish my sentence? Can I finish my sentence and I will come back? This is one example. Secondly, I was interviewing a lady in a hospital the other day, about 3 months ago, in Gaza Strip. As in the middle of the interview, the phone went dead. So I asked people what's happened, and F-16 had bombed the hospital. From where? From the Israeli state. I don't call these a state of war between 2 nations. I call it one nation disproportionately using force against the other to subjugate them, to occupy them. The end and the solution, my friend over there, Laura, you're a rabbi, and I happen to also lead prayers in the mosque, is let's end the occupation, let's call for peace, and we'll go okay.
Now, I'm going to give the last word in this...
doesn't have the right to defend itself?
I'm going to give the last word in this debate to Rabbi Laura. Be brief.
Well, I want to say I would also like to end the occupation.
Yeah, me too.
And that's the way forward, and that's what we should be talking about.
Thank you all very very much. Thank you. Thank you.